Hi there once again. My name is Vishnu Dutt, and what I did in the topology which I was presenting, which we are creating last time, I added some color to make it more presentable, right? To give you more introduction about this topology, if you can see, we have our data center site here, which is site number 100. We have one branch site, branch 1, and then we have branch site 2. And then basically we want to simulate the same experience like Cisco, right? So generally what happens, when we create our own SD-WAN network, we go to Cisco and tell them that, can you please spin these controllers and manage them? We just want to have access to the UI, and we can create a topology with vManager, right? But we do not want to take responsibility of managing this vManager, vSmart, and vBond. So Cisco does that for you. Okay. So all these controllers will be there in AWS, and you will be given access to vManager. It is as simple as that. So we want to have the same experience, and that is why I have created these three controllers in a separate site, and I have given this a number which is 9999. And for our SD-WAN network, right? The organization name I am going to take as VP Corp. Okay, so wherever we are going to change the name of this organization, we need to have this name, VP Corp. Okay. Here we have our host, which is a jump host, you can say, which is connected to this complete network on one end, and it is connected to the it is connected to the management network on the other end. So this is going to be the management network, right? And these all interfaces are in management 0. Okay. So similarly, we have, you can say, one cloud edge router, which is eventually get connected to internet, and then branch site 2 and branch site 1 have internet connectivity. Branch site 1 has MPLS connectivity as well as internet connectivity. Similarly, if you can see here, this DCH1 and DCH2 is having MPLS and internet connectivity, right? So that we can simulate the traffic, we have two desktop machines here. Although if you go behind the scene, this is nothing but the router where we are going to generate the ping. Similarly, we have put one server. Again, this is a router, but I have changed the diagram, or you can say change the picture of this router to the DC server, so it looks more presentable to you. Okay, it is the simplest topology which I was able to thought, and there we have two links between DCH1 and DCH2, so that we can understand the concept of T-lock extension, right? So you do not need to build this complete topology, right? Otherwise, it is going to take some time for you. So what I'll do, I will just export this topology for you, and whenever you create your own EVNG, right? EVNG machine in Google Cloud or anywhere else, you just need to import this back. Okay, it is as simple as that. So I'm just going to close this lab for now, and I'm just removing this drawing. So here you go. We have this SD-WAN UNL. This is the lab which we have, and I want to export it. So I just need to select this and go right here, export button. And if you see that basically this image is, this file is basically exported, right? So in case you want to import it again, import it back. So I just want to showcase you how you can import it back. You just need to do, you just need to add a new lab, and then basically it is a test lab, you can say. This is version 1, author is me, Vishnu, and then description, nothing, that's fine. And we are going to save it. Okay. So this is the test lab, right, guys? Okay. I'm just coming out of it. Okay, and you can create your own lab here also, but what I want to showcase you which I forgot. I think in this case, I am just deleting this test. I'm not sure why did I created that at the first place, but if I do not have, suppose if I don't have this uh, this lab, right? What you need to do is you just need to import it from here and then select your topology, which I'm going to give you as part of description, or I will upload all these things in a separate place. Okay. So having that said, that the whole sole purpose is that you do not need to create this complete topology, right? You just need to import this file and you will be up and running. Okay, so to showcase you this thing, I'm just going to what we can say, I'm just going to delete this. Let's delete this. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to just import it back. Okay, let's import the lab, and I think that is there in the download portion. So if you just click on this lab, and it is going to ask that whether you want to upload, you just need to upload it, and here you go, you have the same lab once again. So I'm going to give you this zip file, and you just need to import it into your own EVNG machine. It is as simple as that. Okay, and if you want to click it, it is going to be like this, right? And then when you open it, you will be presented with this lab again. Okay, very simple. Now what I'm going to do is I just want to have all these routers like DC router, DC or basically branch one router, whatever the standard images I have, right? What are the standard images of router and switches I have? I just wanted to configure them firsthand. So what I have done is, if you go to the startup config, right, you can put the startup configs here. And when you switch on these labs, so basically it will be booting up from this configuration. So I have the configuration for BR1 router, BR2 user, whatever, right? Whatever you can configure to begin this lab, right? I do not have configuration for vSmart, vBond, then basically our edges, and then I do not have configuration for my management switch or the cloud switch, right? Which I do not need because it is working as a switch only, right? So even if you can see that we do not have configuration for our management vManage. Okay, so I will be providing you all this configuration, although this configuration will come along with that zip file which I am going to provide you. Okay, so having said that, let's see what happens when we switch on this lab. So it is going to take some time. So what I'm doing right now is I am switching on this complete lab. So to do that, what you need to do, you just go to more actions and do start all nodes. It is going to take some time because there are so many routers and switches here which are getting ready. But I just want to explain you one thing, that here we are running this lab in 16 virtual CPU instance, right? Which we have created in GCP, and the complete process is explained in the last few videos. Then we have 32 GB of RAM. We have 256 GB of what we can say SSD or the hard disk space, right? So this is the configuration on which I am running all these things. It is very simple, and now as you can see, this lab is coming up. So for all the routers or switches, you can see this watch symbol here, right? What exactly it is doing it, because I have a configuration for this device. So these devices are getting boot from that configuration, right? So it is going to take some time. So this watch symbol is good, guys, right? So just wait for some minutes and this lab is going to be up and running soon. Okay. So after a couple of minutes, I can see that these devices have come up, and there is a watch symbol just went away, and we have the complete lab which is up and running, right? So this is very simple process. We have built one EVNG machine into GCP, right? And we are building this in the free tier account, and we are getting $300 for that. Once we get that, we just installed all the images, whatever we have for these routers, switches, controllers, and then this Linux host, which is going to be our, uh, our jumps host, or you can say, which is going to uh, access the vManage UI. Okay. And what I'm planning to do is maybe we can use this host as certificate authority, or we can use vManage also as a certificate authority. It's up to us, right? Whatever is the simple, whatever I'm going to use, I will be pasting those commands, everything, so that there won't be a problem when you do uh, in your environment. So OpenSSL is a tool which I'm going to use for creating these certificates, right? So everything is up and running. So let me check for a particular device that whether I am getting the configuration or not. So if I open, suppose if I open this device, which is branch one user one, so it is going to ask me whether which application you want this to be open. So I have secure CRT, but believe me, you can use your any application in which you are comfortable. For example, if you are comfortable with management putty or putty, you can just select that application from the list, wherever the location of your application is, right? But I'm very much comfortable with secure CRT application, and that is why I'm going to open the secure CRT. I'm going to open this user into my secure CRT. So if I open this, then here you go. I have this open secure CRT, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just minimize the dimension of this guy so that, just wait a minute, guys. Okay. So here you go. I have branch one user one up and running. Let's see. Okay, so the configuration is already there because I haven't changed the name. Otherwise, you will be seeing the standard router here, right? But now I can see BR1 user one. It means that the configuration is already there. So if you do show IP interface brief here, I can see that the IP address is also configured, which is 10.1.2.50. And if I am correct, then basically I have made the first IP address of this subnet as the default gateway, which is the IP address of this branch one router, gig 0/1 interface. Okay, so let's try to ping that. Let's try to ping 10.1.2.1, which is the address of my default gateway, which is branch one router. And let's see, and sure enough, I am able to ping that. So basically my initial configurations are working fine. Let's check that once again. If I go to this DC server, let's see what we have configured here. So I am going to open this DC server, and yes, the configuration is there because I have this DC server, right? Name as a DC server. So if I do show IP interface brief here, sure enough, I have address configured 10.103.50, right? And what is going to be my default gateway? The default gateway is going to be the first address, which is a normal standard. So if I do here ping 10.100.3.1, I should be able to ping, and that is it. So it means that we have the configuration uh, uh, present in the DC router, DC server, branch user one, branch router two, and everywhere else, right? And where you need to do all these things, if you go to the startup configuration, basically you can see when you import this file, you will be seeing all this configuration along with that, right? This is good. So you do not need to basically what I would say to spend time in configuring all these devices. You need to be you need to give your more attention towards SD-WAN network, right? Edge 1, Edge 2, VH1, branch 2, H1, and then setting up all these controllers, right? So whatever else is required, it is already configured. For example, if I go into the Cloud Edge router also, right? And I am saying that always use this application to open telnet links so that it won't show me this. So if I open this, again the configuration is there. I just want to check that whether my NTP configuration is there or not, right? So what I'm doing here is yes, and it is I'm going to make this Cloud Edge router as my NTP server. And why? And the reason is simple. The reason is that when you work with certificate, timing is important, right? It is important that you have the time accurate on all these machines. Okay, so I just wanted to make this Cloud Edge router as my NTP server. And if I showcase you show IP interface brief, what is the IP address? This is, and sure enough, this is the first IP address of this subnet 9990/24, which is going to be my default gateway when I want to come out from all this network from this side, right? This is good. This is just amazing. And that is why I like this vManage, because it is so simple to configure all those things, right? Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to configure our vManage, vSmart, vBond, and then this Linux jump box. Okay, so let me use my pen to explain you. I'm just closing this secure CRT, and now what are going to be our next step, right, to create this lab. So if I go here, right, if I go here on the vManager, right, basically I need to configure all these controllers first, right, and then I need to configure this Linux host also. Means I need to configure an IP address here, I need to configure an IP address here, because this Linux host is a part of two networks. One is my management network, and this eth0 of all these devices belongs to the management network, which is going to be in the range of 192.168.1.0, right? Then we have VPN 0 configuration here, right? What is VPN 0? What is management? Please, guys, have a look at my complete series on SD-WAN, where I have explained everything, each and every concept associated with the SD-WAN in greater detail. So all those 14 videos are available. Please do please have a look at them. And then there basically I have explained all these things. What is VPN 0, what is management, and basically why these are important, right? So I have put this Linux host as a part of two networks. One is VPN 0 and one is management. Why I put this Linux host or the jump host as a part of VPN 0? Because sometimes I need to copy a few of the files from these edges to here or vice versa. Some cases it is not necessary that you need this, but it is not going to be harm if we can have the two Ethernet interfaces on this jump host. Okay. This jump host is also going to be important because we are going to access the UI of vManage from here, right? This is the Linux jump host, and basically we have a Firefox browser here, and we are going to use this Firefox browser to access via this vManage UI. Very simple, right? Now, with respect to certificates and certificate authority, there are two ways to do this thing. One way is to create this Linux box and use OpenSSL to so that this Linux host is going to be your certificate authority. This is the number one option. And the number two option is we can make this vManage a certificate authority, right? And OpenSSL is already there inside this vManage because if you go to the vShell, basically it is going to be the same Linux box, okay? And OpenSSL is already installed here, so we can use this guy as a certificate authority, and this is going to be your signing. This guy is going to sign the device certificate for vSmart, vBond, and even its own. So it is going to be the self-signed certificate installed on the vManage. Okay, so this is the whole idea. First, we are going to set up these controllers, then jump host, and then we will be onboarding our edges into the network. Okay, so are you ready, guys? So let's begin with configuring vManage first. Okay, then we'll go to vSmart, vBond, and we are going to configure the Linux box. Okay. And even before that, what I need to do is because this is going to be my NTP server, right? The cloud edge router. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my clock here first. I'm not sure what happened to this. Let me open this guy once again. So here we are. Okay, so it is open. So I want to set my time here with after initial NTP configuration. I need to set the time. So time right now is 2014, and then in seconds say it is 00, and then what is the date today? Today is 13th, and the month is April. So in the meantime, this time has become okay. It is still 2014. That's fine. And let's do enter. So it is saying incomplete command. Okay, and it is asking for year also. So it is going to be 2022, and then the time just changed from 2014 to 2015. Let's do the 2015. Okay, so the time is set, and you can see the clock is also been synchronized with this time. Okay, guys. So if you see here, show clock, the time is going to be quite sync, and I'm going to take this time uh, to each and every controller so that we are having the same time on all the controllers. Okay, so let's begin with setting up the first controller, which is vManager, and I'm going to clean this board first. Okay, it's cleaned, and now let's log into the vManager. Okay, so by default the username and password is admin. Now at the first instance, it is going to tell you that you must set an initial admin password, right? It's up to you, whatever you want to give the password. Okay, and it is the important step. Now it is saying that we have two available storages here, and basically which storage device you want to use. And believe me, when we were configuring this, you remember that we have created what 100 GB disk drive space, right? We need to select this and we need to format this. So the option 1 is VDV, and that is why I'm putting this option 1 here. And then it is asking, would you like to format? Absolutely, I would like to format. Yes. So it is going to take some time. And whenever you see a line like system is ready, then basically you are going to be ready for putting some configuration command into this. What initial configuration command we are going to put? It is interesting. So it means that this guy, okay, let it be. It is going to take some time, and whenever it is complete, I will be coming back. Okay. So finally, you are going to see this thing, system ready, and you need to log in with the new password, whatever you have provided. Okay, so you are into this. Now you need to put some initial configuration here, and for that you need to understand what I am going to do here is. So I'm just taking my pen once again here. So what we are going to do is in the VPN 0 side, we will be assigning an IP address from this subnet, and I have chosen the IP address on VPN 0 interface is going to be 9.9.9.1, right? Sorry, 11, because 1.1 is this one. Okay, sorry, because this is the switch interface. .1 is this one, the cloud edge router, which is also is going to be my NTP server. And here at this side, we are going to have this IP address from this range, 192.168.1.11. Okay, this is going to be your management side, or VPN 512. This is simple, right? And then in the NTP side, we are going to put this .1, 9.9.9.1 as our NTP server, and then we are going to have basically our organization name as VP Corp, and the site ID we are going to provide this thing, right? It is as simple as that. And then if you go to the complete configuration, then I will be providing I will be having the default route in the VPN 0, which is also pointing me towards this guy. Okay, so I'm not sure how this happened, but okay, let me, because just wait a minute. Yeah, okay, so we are going to have one default route here, so that it is in the VPN 0, so that we can go out from this router. So this is the simplest configuration which we have, and let's put this configuration on vManage. Okay, so I am opening my secure CRT, which is here, and I'm going into config T, and the configuration, I'm just doing a copy paste. And don't worry guys, I will be putting all this configuration in some place so that you can download it. Okay, so let me just clean the this screen, and here is a configuration. So host name, very simple. I have just put this host name as VP Corp vManage, and then basically system IP is going to be this one, 192.168. So basically I have chosen a range for the system IP. System IP is the important parameter. It is just like your router ID. Okay, site ID is 9999. VP Corp is my organization name. Then my vBond, we need to specify the vBond here, which is 9.9.9.21. The clock is Asian, basically the Kolkata time period. And then we have NTP server, which is my cloud edge router. VPN 0 configuration is simple. We have the external interface, and for now I am just saying allow service all. It is not the good practice to allow every service, but to begin with, to keep all the things simple, I have put this allow service all, because if you do on the tunnel interface, by default most of the services are disabled, and we need some services like NTP, right, netcon and SSH to be enabled. So I have enabled everything for the simplicity, but it is not good practice in the production. We need to discuss this. Okay, then we have IP route here so that we can go out, and in VPN 512 we are not want to go anywhere out, and that is why we do not have any IP route there. We are just configuring an IP address here and just shutting down this interface. This is the entire configuration which I want to put on the vManage. Let's paste it. Okay, once you paste this configuration, you need to do commit. Okay, so complete commit, and then you can come out of it. So this is the minimum configuration I wanted to have on vManage. So let's try to ping our default gateway in VPN 0. Okay, so ping 9.9.9.1. Okay, and sure enough I can ping it. So by default, if you do not specify any VRF, it is going to ping in VPN 0, right? If you want to ping in 512 VPN, you need to specify VPN here. Okay, so if I do a ping 999 and if I specify VPN 0, it is going to ping, right? If I'm going to specify VPN 512, of course it is not going to, because there is no network in the VPN 512 which is having 9.9.9.1 host. Okay, it is really simple, guys. That what we have done is we have done some initial configuration on vManage. Now it is time to configure vSmart. Okay, or before vSmart, let's configure vBond first. Okay, so first let's understand what exactly we are going to configure on vBond, right? So this is again going to be simple. We are going to create one IP address is in 512 VPN here, which is going to be my management, and which is going to be .21, means 192.168.1.21, right, in vBond. And then we are going to have second interface configuration within VPN 0, and then this is again .21, which is in this network 9.9.9.21. So the configuration is going to be and we are going to tell that this is my vBond. So we need to define that the vBond IP address is only 21, and this host, the local host, is the vBond. Okay, so so let's do that. Let's open vBond now. Okay, so let's log in. You can configure any password. So now, so this vBond image is also actually a vEdge image, right? So let's go into the configuration mode. Let's copy. So let's see the configuration once again. The same configuration, almost. Host name is vBond, right? VP core vBond, and the system IP is going to be this. Site ID is this one. Again, the same clock, and here is the important command. We are specifying that vBond is 9.9.9.21, which is the IP address of this host only, and we have put this local so that the system understand that this I am the vBond for this SD-WAN network, right? Here we have defined NTP, and then we have defined IP address here. Okay, so although we do not need IPv6 DHCP client, let's remove this command from here. It's good. I am making this also eternal interface, allow service all, no shutdown, and this is the IP route again, and then 512. I am going to give this IP address 1.21, right? This is good. I'm going to paste this configuration. This is good, and I'm going to commit it. Very good. So here, now let's do some check. Let's try to reach to the default gateway, which is 9.9.9.1. Okay, and sure enough, I can able to ping it, and then we can also check that whether we are able to reach the vManager, right? And the vManager IP address is 11, and sure enough, I can ping. Let's check whether we are able to reach the second vManage in the 512 VPN or not, right? So in 512 VPN, what is the IP address of my vManager? It is going to be 192.168.1.11, and I am going to ping 512, right? So it should be pinging, and sure enough, it is pinging. So I'm able to ping from this device. Let me showcase you here. So I am able to ping from this device in this network, which is my VPN 0, and also in this network, which is my VPN 512, which is the management VPN, right? Very simple. So the configuration, the initial configuration is complete, and we have done commit also. Now let's perform the same configuration for vSmart. Okay, and even before that means I really want to check whether my NTP is working fine, right? So let's check if I do NTP show NTP association. Yes, it is showing that the reachable, my NTP server is reachable. And if I do show clock here, okay, the time is perfect. It is 2032 right now. Okay, and if I go to vManager also, I should see the same. I'm not sure, but after some time, basically, if I leave that idle, uh, it okay, and maybe I can fix that. Just wait a minute. By the way, guys, after initial configuration, you do not need to be on vManager vManager CLI for most of the time. But let's check whether we have the correct configuration or not. So if I do show NTP association, right, it is again, and if I do a show clock here, my clock is synced pretty nicely. This is good, and this is the requirement of certificate installation, right? The system time or the time on each and every system is going to be, should be same. Okay. So if you want to check the running configuration also, the command is similar to iOS, and you can just check whatever the configuration you have placed here. Okay. This is absolutely fantastic. So we have just completed the configuration for vManager. We have completed the configuration for vBond, NTP, and the initial configuration. Everything is working fine. Now, this is the time to configure our vSmart. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so for vSmart configuration, like let's start vSmart. Okay, so we are in vSmart. Let's log into this. Change its initial password. This is good. And let's put the initial configuration. We are going to set the management and VPN 0 interface, IP address, host name, system IP, and then we are going to configure the NTP, right? Let's copy the configuration and let's paste it here. Okay, so as you can see, the host name is this one. Okay, so here you go. It is basically the wrong configuration which you have taken. Let me fix it, guys. Let me fix it. So here you go. I have fixed the configuration. Host name is vSmart1, you can say. So right now, basically, if I have only one vSmart, so I do not need to put vSmart1 or 2. But believe me, in the real production environment, you can have and you will be having more than one vSmart. So you need to plan accordingly. But for our topologies for our basic understanding of SD-WAN, let's not create another vSmart. We are good with this topology. And here is the configuration for NTP. Time zone is again this one. vBond IP address I have already specified. VPN 0, 9.9.31. Then this is the default route. Once again, we have the management IP address and we are good. Let's paste this configuration and do some initial check. So you need to commit these changes and now let's see whether we are able to reach to few hosts or not. So let's try to ping first the default gateway, which is 9.9.9.1. Sure enough, we can. And then let's try to ping our vManage, which is .11 in VPN 0. Yes, we are. And let's try to ping our vBond, which is .21. Let's try to ping from the management side of the things, right? So ping 192.168.1.11, which is going to be my management IP address of vManage in 512 VPN, and we can ping it. This is good. And now I want to ping my vBond, which is 21, right? Here you go. This is fine. With respect to initial configuration of vManager, vSmart, vBond, we are good. Now we need to configure our jump host. Okay. For that, let's start our jump host. So jump host is already started. So okay, just wait for a minute. What I want to do is first so this host is already started, and I'm not sure whether I have changed this operating system or not. So what I want to do is I want to change the operating system of this host. So I have several operating system here, right? And right now it is Linux Ubuntu 20.04, which I am good with. And what you need to do is you need to change this console. So by default it is VNC. You need to change it to RDP, right? But if you install the topology which I give to you, it is going to be RDP. So no worries. Let's save this. Let's switch this on once again. And what I need to do is I need to just clean this board first. So I'm cleaning this screen, and let's see what happens when I switch on, when I try to RDP into this host. So I am getting this. So here is the important thing, guys. When you try to open this through RDP, just check, because most of the time you will be copying some of your files, right, into the remote desktop, right? So you need to click on all these things, right? Drives, your drives, other supported PNP device, clipboard, and printers, so that you can copy and paste. Okay, printer is not required, but that's fine. Let's try to connect. So it is going to open a window like this. Okay. This is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the username and password. So by default, the username and password is, I believe it is going to be user, and the password is going to be test123 T capital. But let's see whether it is working or not. And sure enough, it is working. Okay, this is just fantastic. So now what I need to do is I need to configure the IP address of this machine, okay, on H0 interface and E1 interface. And how to do that? Basically, I'm going to explain you in a moment. So if you open terminal from here, just write terminal, and it is going to give you this terminal. Okay, let's make it slightly bigger. Okay, so if you do here if config or IPA, it is going to give you these interfaces, right? So we have loopback, we have ENS3, ENS4, and ENS5. So we need to configure the IP address here. Okay. So right now, if you can, okay. So how to set the configuration? We need to change in one particular file, and then we are up and running. So we need to check which interface is what. and let me figure out that for you. And once done, we will be moving ahead. Okay.